Elliot has an older brother and sister. The older brother seems to antagonize him, which causes Elliot to end up getting very anxious and his behavior going off. Is Elliot, Zachary's almost 8. How would we handle that so he understands, like, at what point do you sort of start to put in strategies for the older brother or siblings, you know, to understand where this little guy's at?
Yeah, that's
a good question.
That's a good question, and it's a hard question. I mean, he does, you know, your older child does have a responsibility to, in your family, everybody needs to get their needs met, right? So even if your older child doesn't have the same needs as your, how old is Elliot?
He's 4.5.
He's 4.5. So I mean, I think 8 years old for Zachary is probably old enough to begin to explain to him and to be very active in expecting him to treat his brother in a certain way, right? You know, your son with autism has different things that will get him upset, but we all have different things that get us upset, right? So the intervention needs to come with the older child, but then also over time with Elliot in terms of helping him to develop his own self-regulation skills and his own you know, way of reacting to those things that may not be fueling the fire, but he's still little, right? I wouldn't expect him at 4. I wouldn't expect very many 4-year-olds to be able to do that. I would expect an 8-year-old to be able to think a little bit before he pokes the
bear. I call it poking the bear.
Poking the bear, yeah. Okay.
Plus, the older one as well. The squeaky wheel gets the grease, right?
Yeah.
So they get most of the attention. So it's the older one that's kind of left out. So what I did is kind of plan some time for the older one to just me and you time.
Yeah.
You
Okay.
know? It's really important that they get that, you know, one-on-one with you, because it is. It's all consuming. The squeaky wheel is having meltdowns all over the place.
Yeah.
Putting out fires. You know?
And that may be his way of saying, Mom,
I
I'm
need
not
some
getting enough
attention
attention.
here.
Yeah.
I was going to ask, with my grandchildren, the one with autism is the oldest. And now we're finding that the younger one is starting to take on some of his behaviors. How can, like, we don't know if it's him now beginning to show autistic behaviors or if he's just doing it from a learned, because he knows that Ronan gets attention when he does this. How do you...
Well, there's two things to that. One is, if you're concerned about your other grandchild's development, then you need to have him assessed.
Yes,
End of
he is
story.
going to be assessed.
Because it can't hurt to have him assessed. The other is, I mean, a lot of parents ask me that question, you know, is my child imitating the other child? Typically, if they're doing that, it's going to pass eventually, because there's not, a lot of those autistic behaviors are actually not really adaptive in any other way except to maybe get attention. But a neurotypical sibling is going to figure out pretty quick that there's better ways to get the job done. So I wouldn't worry too much about it. But I would say if it's, you know, if it's harmful in some way, or if it seems to be a behavioral issue, you still have to address it in the same way that you would, right?